On April 10, 2025, Trooper Brinson, while on routine patrol, observed a white Genesis G70 with an illegally tinted front windshield, traveling northbound on US Highway 441. Brinson immediately activated his emergency lights and siren to signal a traffic stop. The driver initially pulled into the Circle K at North Orange Blossom Trail, but abruptly fled the scene, accelerating southbound on US 441 and initiating a pursuit. Due to the driver's blatant disregard for the safety of others and surrounding property, Trooper Brinson executed a successful pit maneuver to bring the pursuit to an end. Following the maneuver, the driver opened the driver's side door and threw a brown backpack onto the southbound lanes of US 441. The vehicle then came to its final rest in the grassy median. The driver exited with his hands raised and was immediately placed into handcuffs. Upon searching the discarded backpack, Trooper Brinson discovered multiple large bags of marijuana, a digital scale, clear plastic baggies, and additional white powdery substances, later confirmed to be cocaine. The driver, identified as Sidney Paul Hayes, was transported to the Orange County Jail and charged with fleeing, reckless driving, possession with intent to distribute, and tampering with evidence. On November 5, 2024, Trooper Reitenauer responded to a report of a stolen vehicle fleeing southbound on Richview Road. While traveling westbound, he observed the stolen vehicle, a blue Mitsubishi, turn sharply from Richview Road onto Appalachie Parkway at a high rate of speed. With his emergency lights and siren already activated, Trooper Reitenauer positioned himself behind the vehicle and initiated a pursuit. While traveling westbound, the suspect vehicle approached the intersection of Paul Russell Road and suddenly swerved into the eastbound lanes at a high rate of speed, nearly colliding head-on with a vehicle traveling east on Appalachia Parkway. Trooper Reitenauer immediately followed into the eastbound lanes and executed a pit maneuver, forcing the suspect vehicle back into the westbound lanes. Once there, he performed a second pit maneuver, successfully pinning the vehicle against the pedestrian guardrail on the northbound sidewalk. Trooper Reitenauer then exited his patrol unit, approached the vehicle from the front, and issued loud verbal commands for the driver to exit and show his hands. The driver, later identified as Antoine Jones, complied and was placed under arrest for grand theft of a motor vehicle and fleeing and eluding. On March 29, 2024, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper initiated a pursuit after spotting a silver BMW speeding northbound on the I-95 express lanes, recklessly weaving through traffic and endangering the lives of other motorists while disregarding commands to stop. The pursuit continued into Broward County, where additional FHP units joined to provide support and containment.
Vehicles is on the northbound in the express lane, back to 4826. 79 to go, approach you, approach 94 miles an hour express. Yeah, floor pass on the overpass for Hollywood now. Overpass to Hollywood. We got a pin, we got a pin, we got a pin.
After several minutes of pursuit and realizing the driver had no intention of yielding, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper executed a pit maneuver to prevent further danger to other motorists. The maneuver caused the suspect vehicle to spin out and strike a passing vehicle before becoming disabled in the middle of the interstate. The driver, identified as Jacqueline Maxson, was taken into custody at gunpoint and charged with fleeing, resisting arrest, and reckless driving. She was transported to the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center, where her bond was set at $8,150. The couple in the struck vehicle sustained only minor injuries and was reported to be in stable condition. On July 8, 2025, Trooper Jonathan Hernandez was on routine patrol in Lee County, Florida, when he observed a silver Chevy Silverado traveling at a high rate of speed, weaving through traffic and swerving. Hernandez estimated the vehicle speed to be 100 miles per hour in a posted 70 miles per hour zone. The vehicle began changing lanes to the outside, where it almost rear-ended a slower-moving pickup truck pulling a trailer in the outside lane. After Hernandez activated his emergency lights to make a traffic stop for the observed violations, the vehicle didn't yield, but started braking erratically, varying speed and driving between lanes, which initiated a pursuit. As the pursuit neared mile marker 151, Trooper Benson Prosper joined in as the lead unit and began positioning to execute a pit maneuver. The fleeing driver countered by slamming on the brakes and intentionally ramming his vehicle into the patrol unit to avoid being stopped. The chase pressed northbound, where Trooper Prosper made a second attempt to perform a pit maneuver, only for the suspect to aggressively counter, effectively pit maneuvering the trooper's vehicle instead.
On the brakes, trying to pit. Come out.
The pursuit continued northbound on I-75, approaching exit 157, where Trooper Riley entered the chase and assumed the role of lead unit.
10-4, 156, 3036 control. 156, 3036 control. We're taking access.
The driver exited at mile marker 157, ran a stop sign, and attempted to head west when Trooper Riley made contact with the vehicle's left side, forcing it into the grassy area at the northwest corner of the intersection. Despite pressing the accelerator, the Chevy failed to move, ending the driver's attempt to flee. Troopers issued loud verbal commands instructing the driver to keep his hands raised. The male driver then climbed into the front passenger seat, exited the vehicle, and was taken into custody without further incident. During a search of the vehicle, Trooper Hernandez discovered 6 empty liquor bottles and 3 burnt marijuana cigarettes. The driver, identified as Kevin Donald Reardon II, was transported by EMS to Fawcett Hospital for medical evaluation. While undergoing a CT scan, medical staff advised Trooper Hernandez that Reardon appeared to have a bottle of pills concealed inside his rectum. Once medically cleared, he was transported to the Charlotte County Jail. On March 16, 2025, Trooper Mulvey was conducting routine patrol on State Road 826 westbound when he observed a black Ford Mustang with white racing stripes driving recklessly. Mulvey began following the vehicle and activated his emergency lights and siren to initiate a traffic stop. After briefly waiting for the driver to yield, the suspect instead accelerated and drove aggressively in an attempt to flee, escalating the situation into a pursuit.
Just crashed out.
The suspect continued southbound at a high rate of speed before exiting onto the ramp for Northwest 122nd Street. As the vehicle approached the intersection, the driver disregarded a steady red light and collided with another vehicle. The impact caused extensive damage and resulted in the Mustang overturning onto its roof. Upon exiting his patrol vehicle, Trooper Mulvey immediately drew his firearm and attempted to make contact with the driver of the overturned Mustang. When the driver failed to respond, Mulvey looked inside and saw that the suspect was trapped. With the assistance of an off-duty officer, they successfully extracted the driver from the wreckage, at which point he became combative toward both Mulvey and the assisting officer. After multiple unsuccessful attempts to subdue him, Trooper Mulvey deployed his taser, gaining control of the situation. The driver, identified as Alejandro Estrada, was transported to Jackson West Medical Center for clearance before being booked into the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Facility without further incident. On June 20th, 2024, Trooper Elvis Nolasco was patrolling State Road 91 when he observed a white Mercedes sedan with heavily tinted windows traveling northbound. A records check of the vehicle's tag revealed that the registered owner had a suspended license and an active seize tag order. Trooper Nolasco activated his emergency lights and siren in an attempt to initiate a traffic stop, but the vehicle shifted into the outside lane. Using his PA system, Nolasco instructed the driver to pull over to the right shoulder. However, the driver instead accelerated, initiating a pursuit. The pursuit continued northbound on I-95 before the suspect vehicle exited at State Road 70, where Trooper Nolasco executed a successful pit maneuver. The Mercedes spun out, but momentarily regained control, appearing as though it might continue fleeing. At that point, another trooper made intentional contact with the vehicle, disabling it and bringing the pursuit to an end. Trooper Nolasco drew his issued handgun, ordered both the driver and passenger out of the vehicle, and placed them into custody without further incident. A subsequent search of the Mercedes revealed a black zippered bag containing a white powdery substance, 12 circular blue pills, later identified as oxycodone, and 4 triangular pink pills, identified as MDMA. The driver was identified as Derek Danavon Taylor Jr., and the passenger as William Wade Woods. Taylor was charged with reckless driving, fleeing and eluding, possession of a controlled substance, and driving on a suspended license. Woods was charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of a controlled substance. Both Taylor and Woods were transported by Trooper Sjogren to Lawnwood Regional Medical Center for medical clearance following the crash, and upon clearance, were booked into the St. Lucie County Jail. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to comment which clip you liked the most. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like this video.